Ladies and gentlemen, General Flynn joining the show live needs absolutely no introduction, so let's go. General Flynn, thank you so much for being on the program. We're just
Hey, Benny.
rip-roaring here, and this has got to be quite the day for you. You were, of course, the person that James Comey was leaking about. So technically, in part, you had a major role in James Comey getting indicted today because he was authorizing leaks about you, and then he lied about them. It's got
Yeah.
to be quite the feeling.
Yeah, it's an interesting time, I think, for the country. And yeah, and actually, Benny, sitting here with you today and having watched everything going on over the last, decade almost, but certainly these last couple of days with this, the information about Comey being indicted and then he's indicted, it's actually very heartbreaking for me. Okay. So I'm not sitting here today to gloat on Comey or any of these other criminals, and frankly, socialist Marxists that are in our government. This is a very difficult time for the United States of America. It's a historic moment. And, I wrote the other night, or I wrote to some friends last night, that this is not about we're not one generation away, as Ronald Reagan said, we're one presidency away from losing this country. So this indictment of Comey is a bellwether for others that will be down the road here. Once Comey realizes that it's not looking good, and that he could face prison time, that then will the pressure come on him to expose many of these others? And I do believe that the grand jury probably has had and heard from people. The grand jury that allowed for this indictment probably have heard from people that are close to Comey. Some are probably whistleblower types. Others might be people that were in the administration that worked directly with him. We don't know if James Clapper was one of them. We don't know if of other people. I'm certain that would probably leak. But the other thing too, a little tactical detail, Benny, about who's going to represent Comey, whoever it is, Fitzgerald or whatever, who these people are. These people have unlimited resources. They have more money than most governments have. So don't feel sorry that Jim Comey's going to, and his family are going to be hurting for financial support going through this indictment process and this trial process. But it's heartbreaking. Now, sort of, where are we? Where are we going as a nation, and what is happening to our country? Because Comey is, when you look back at all of these things, and you just had Julie Kelly on. Julie's great and has been, writing quite a bit about it, and we all get out there and post different things. And I get emotional at times, and I get very serious about some of the things that are happening. But I do want your audience, and I want America to know that this is just starting. This is just the beginning. And I do feel that we are a little bit behind the power curve. I do feel that we have not used the momentum that we probably had this past summer. And maybe it was because they wanted to make sure that, some T's were crossed and I's dotted, that kind of thing. And that's fine. If that's the reason or the excuse, that's fine. But there are so many other problems that we are going to have to deal with in addition to starting. This is just the beginning. This is starting to gut the deep state, right? But the deep state, you got Pete Hegseth calling in every single flag officer in the Department of Defense, and one of the reasons is because it's to gut the deep state inside of the Department of Defense after the brutal murder, which most Americans still don't trust what has been stated about Charlie Kirk's death. So I'll put that on the table. But the amount of people just in the Department of Defense, never mind the whole of government, that came out and were spewing vitriol, that are working for the government, that took the oath of office, for work inside the government, that were spewing hatred, not just about Charlie, but about life in general and being an American. I mean, we have serious problems. Comey is the poster child, because he's not only a former, deputy attorney general, former prosecutor. He's also the former director of the FBI, right? An institution, Benny, and I love Cash and I love Dan, and I don't know Bailey, but Bailey, who's in there. The American people still do not trust that organization. They do not trust many organizations in government, and for good reason. And we now have an opportunity, and I think that it's time that we have to take it. We have the people in our government. This includes Donald J. Trump himself. Okay, he tries to be as transparent as possible, and he says certain things on Truth Social, right? And that's well and good. He does this with he signs off on an executive order, and he does this number from the Resolute desk. Good, I love it. But now you have to execute all those things that matter. If he says go after somebody, or if he says go release somebody from prison, or if he says, to a country in south of us here in Venezuela, you better get ready. If he says to Qatar or Hamas in the Middle East, you better get those hostages released. People below him, people within Trump's orbit, have to then step up and start to act. There, in the military, we always say what gets checked gets done, and Donald Trump does not have the ability to be able to check every single thing that is going on in this very complex and sometimes very chaotic world. So back to Jim Comey. Jim Comey is he's the poster child for Russiagate. He is the poster child for how this country went through a coup, and we are still in the midst of it. So do not think that because Jim, I want everybody to everybody can. And I got all kinds of people sending me cards and letters, Benny, about, hey, this is great. This vindicates you. No, this is terrible. Our country is in a weakened state right now. Okay. And I love Donald J. Trump. There's nobody that has stood up for him more than I have. I love the man, and I think that he's a great president. And he's exactly the type of person we need right now in history, because he is a non-politician. But the political class in Washington, D.C., they can't stand him. They want nothing to do with Donald Trump. They want to get rid of him. I mean, we've had 4 years now of a Congress run by Republicans, Benny. And what have they done? The judiciary, they never sent anything over to the Department of Justice about Comey. They've known all this stuff all along. We were what, 2 days from the statute of limitations? We already went past the statute of limitations on other things. So Comey was in the meetings that we now know of on the 8th of December of 2016 and the 5th of January of 2017 with Barack Obama. Okay, the guy who's kind of the quarterback, if you will, is Barack Obama. Barack Obama was the quarterback, and he is directed by others, but let's just say Barack Obama is the quarterback. The people that were in those meetings, and Jim Comey knows, everybody knows who was in those meetings now from all the various reports from Tulsi Gabbard, the Durham report, my own the investigation that we exposed so much. The people that were in that meeting, they basically initiated a takeover of the United States of America, a Marxist leftist takeover. Do not think that these are just people that don't like Donald Trump and they wanted to get rid of Donald Trump. They wanted to totally destroy this country. There are many, many whistleblowers that have still come forward that have not been exposed yet, and that's good for them, that more and more information is going to come out, Benny. And it needs to come out, and it will come out. Some of it is sealed in grand jury. Some of it's sealed in court here in various court cases right now. But I'm telling you, this goes back to the Clinton Foundation. Not when Barack Obama took over in 2008. This goes back to the Clinton Foundation when it was originally stood up in the early 2000s by Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and then she comes in with Barack Obama. I mean, Benny, the story is just starting to be told, because we have the opportunity to be able to tell the story. Now, what is Jim Comey going to do? Jim Comey, on his little video that he put out, he's signaling. He's signaling to everybody. It's the dog whistle, and maybe there's some threats that are put in there. We don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But it's certainly a signal to everybody. Hey, don't worry about this. We're going to be okay. We're not going to. It's not about I'm going to stand and fight. No, this is about whistling to the Marxist left in this country. The infiltration of our country by a very, very serious threat. And yeah, we can blame China. Yes, they're to blame partially. Yes, we can blame Russia. Yep, that's the idea of an ism that's called communism. There's also the rise of Islamism. I'm just, I'm sort of wave topping you here, Benny, a little bit with your audience, but I want your audience to understand. I mean, hey, I'm in the sort of the waning age group of your audience, right? I mean, your audience is generally a young crowd out there, and I want them to know that guys like me, guys like you, but there are others. We're standing up fighting, not for me. I don't give a shit about me at this point. What I care about is this country, because I have children and I have grandchildren, and we are going to have to fight through this. So I said to you because you and I talked on the phone this morning, and I appreciate the phone call, Benny. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. If people think that, oh, this is great, Comey's been indicted, wonderful, clap, pat yourselves on the back, brush the crap off of your shoes or put your running shoes on, because we all have got to start running now. This is just the beginning. And the beginning means that we are going to get to a place, and I'll shut up here in a second. We're going to get to a place where the Department of Justice has not cleaned itself up yet. I mean, how many people are starting to resign now that we're finding out that were somehow related to Jim Comey? Jesus, unbelievable. So this is just the beginning. And there will be others. There will likely be other indictments, and that's good. And we start to get at this leadership team. But we have such a cancer inside of our government right now, and that's at federal, state, and local. Because many people, as I've gone around this country, have told me, oh my God, our school board's this, our school board's that. We thought we solved it all when Donald Trump got elected. Absolutely not. My message to the American people is you better wake up to the fact that we all have a responsibility as citizens of this great country to serve this country. You don't just have to serve in the United States military. You can serve your country down at your community level. And that's my message to America. If people don't wake up and start serving this country in so many different ways, it does take sacrifice. That's what freedom costs. Freedom is not free. It requires sacrifice. It requires a lot of things. And Comey will be this. He'll be forever known as this guy who was the director of the FBI and tried to be part of a group that literally tried to take down the United States of America. That's what this is all about. If you can get Al Capone, who murdered dozens of people on tax evasion or whatever, and throw them in prison, great. That's the sort of the analogy for Comey. If they got to get him for lying to Congress and squeeze him a little bit to get him to expose some of these other people, great. But now let's see the fiber that the Department of Justice and those prosecutors that are going to have to take this on. Let's see what kind of fiber they're made of.
General, I could just book you for the whole show. I just love talking with you so much, and you have such deep insight here. But we are up against a hard out, and we have to travel today. So I just want to lock down a final comment from you. Those who follow probably already know, but it's worth stating that James Comey saw you as such a massive threat. James Comey, and we've played the clip a million times, out bragging about how he attacked and targeted you personally, and how he sent FBI agents to you, and I think we all know why. James Comey also is now being indicted because of leaks he made about you. He instructed Daniel Richmond to leak about you and Andrew McCabe to leak about you. That's how big of a threat it is. So actually, quite frankly, his irrational hatred of you is what led in part to his indictment today, which many experts are telling us he's not going to be able to get out of. They're going to get a conviction on this lying to Congress. And so given all of that, and given that you are the premier nexus point in this story, your message, not to Obama or Brennan, but to directly James Comey today.
Yeah, I mean, I think that James Comey, you're gonna go down in history as a former FBI director who tried to stage a takeover of the United States of America and basically take down a duly elected president of the United States of America. That's what he's going to be known as. He is a evil, treasonous SOB, and he knows it. I don't care how arrogant he can get, because he can get very arrogant, but that's what he is. And it's not just him, but Comey, that's what he is. He really is a person who thinks he can actually do whatever he wants to do because he was in a position to do it. And that's where the American people need to understand when we have to be very conscious of what it is that we are, who it is that we are putting into power inside of our government, state, local, state, and federal. Because these are the types of people that are in there now, and Comey is at the nexus of it, and he will be convicted. But let's see if he helps expose some of these other names that you just mentioned.
Yeah, we'll see. So you think flip Comey?
Yeah,
Maybe.
he's gonna have to. He's
The rat eat rat. Rat eat rat, General. That's right. No honor among thieves is what they say.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'd be remiss if I didn't send you off, General, without giving a full endorsement to Pete Hegseth, to our Secretary of War, to make General Flynn the Supreme Allied Commander. This is the full endorsement of this show and our 15 million followers and subscribers. We all support General Flynn as the new Supreme Allied Commander. Let's get the cheers going. This is what we all say, unified. General Flynn. That's what we hope this is all about with the Secretary of War.
We'll see, Benny. God bless you. Thank you very much.
He said we'll see. So you're saying there's a chance. Okay.
Jim Carrey.
You're saying there's a chance. All right. Thank you very much. Everyone follow General Flynn. You're already following him. 2.1 million followers. Get in there and fight with people who are fighting for us. Godspeed, General.
Godspeed. Thank you.